All right, I want to talk to you about a TRX row. Why a TRX, first of all? This suspension trainer that you can hook to a tree, your ceiling, your wall, you can mount it, or you can just put it over a door. There's a temporary door attachment that doesn't require any screwing or drilling. It doesn't ruin the door at all. And if you have 4 foot by 6 foot length, you've got yourself a workout. You can work your whole body. Why would you want to use a TRX? Well, it increases the number of exercises that you can do with your body using just your body weight, number one. And number two, you can leverage the angle that you're working out on in order to make the exercise harder or easier, okay? So for example, I'm going to do a TRX row here. And if I'm rowing standing up pretty vertical like this, it's not that hard, okay? I want to make it harder. All I have to do is right in the middle of my set, just increase the angle and then, wow, okay, now it's getting tougher. And then if I increase it even more, yep, it's getting tougher, right? And like I said, if you mounted it in the ceiling and you're able to pull directly up to the ceiling, that's a really hard row, okay? So easier with a row is more vertical, harder is more angled, right? How do we row? What are we working? Well, we're working the big back muscle, the lat, bicep, rear delt muscle, rhomboids between the shoulder blades, and the trapezius muscles, which basically take up most of my upper back. Okay? Proper form. This is like a cable row, where I'd be sitting at a cable row machine and pulling into my body. The proper form is not to shrug when I'm doing it, keep my shoulder blades down, but focus on squeezing my shoulder blades and then releasing them. Squeeze them, release them, squeeze them, release them, all while maintaining my posture. Okay, so my core is tight, back is straight, head is straight, even when I'm on an angle. Everything's same angle, okay? I lock my knees, my whole body stays straight. I don't want to be swinging back and forth like this around the pelvis, okay? So, I'm doing a neutral grip row here, which is like this. I have another video that is a prone grip or a wider grip row, and another video that shows a curl grip row. Okay, this is more biceps. This is less biceps, but more brachialis under the biceps, brachioradialis, and this is less biceps and less brachialis, brachioradialis even still, but more lats, okay? My lats are fully stretched in this position. They're more stretched in this position than they are in this position than they are in this position, okay? So the lats are working more, most. Okay, and less, least here, okay? And the other muscles are starting to take over. This is kind of a good compromise. My elbows are out from my body a little bit. I'm pulling in as far as I can, close to my body, not shrugging, but squeezing my shoulder blades and then letting them go. Proper movement of the arm is my shoulder blade squeezes first, then my shoulder moves, and then my elbow moves, and then the reverse happens on the way out. Elbow, shoulder blade releases, okay? But don't think about that. When I teach people that, they tend to go, You don't have to do that. The cue you need to follow is to imagine that you've got a cluster of grapes in between your shoulder blades, and I want you to rapidly crush those grapes by squeezing your shoulder blades together, and then letting the juice slowly run out. Squeeze, juice runs out. Squeeze, juice runs out, okay? So you're firing fast and squeezing, and then you're slowly letting go till at the end your shoulder blades are now separated, but you're not slouching, okay? So that's the movement. The breathing is out when you're pulling and in when you're coming back. The form I like to use, I'm going to do about a 45-degree angle row, is to have my toes off the ground if I can. If I'm really out a lot like this, I might not be able to do that because I might slip, okay? So be careful. But keep your toes off the ground only because if your toes aren't on the ground and your feet are flat, you might, see how my knees are bent now? I might tend to bend around the knees, okay? And my body would naturally want to do that because that's a shorter lever, meaning the exercise isn't as hard. This way, I'm rotating around my heels and the exercise is a little harder, okay? So here it is, proper form, heads back, core's tight. As I alluded to in the beginning, let's say I'm only halfway through my set and I'm like, oh man, I can't lift. Okay, I'm going to step back and now I'm going to make it a little bit easier. Okay, now that's easier. Good. I can finish my set. All right? So what you can do is you can train and progress by slowly every workout increasing the angle until if you mount it in the ceiling, you're flat, right? Literally, if you wanted to put pieces of tape on the floor to remember where you were, that way you would know for sure if you're progressing, but you can get a general sense without having to do that, okay? So great piece of equipment, just like doing a row in the gym, and you can make it harder or easier, harder if the angle's more, easier if you're standing more upright, okay? So that's a neutral grip TRX row.